My experience working with Digital Human Lab is good. Previously, people with hearing impairment were discriminated many times in many areas of life. They've been left out. But then when Digital Human Lab gave us an opportunity, we felt included. We've learned a lot. We have come up with so many things that we didn't know before. Now we have gained a lot of skills that I feel that there is a positive impact and a positive consideration for us as people with hearing impairment.
The Digital Human Rights Lab is a virtual physical platform that seeks to link human rights defenders to enable them collaborate, but also provide them with resources and necessary skills to be able to do their work efficiently in the 21st century or in the digital era that we are in.
The project proposes to utilize the potentials of digitization for human rights work in Uganda without losing sight of the economic, social, and cultural context.
So the Digital Human Rights Lab has taken a threefold approach. The very first one, which is network building. Through network building over the past 3 years, we have linked human rights defenders through communities of practice. Communities of practice are platforms or networks where human rights defenders that seek to work on similar issues or on a similar cause come together to ideate, share knowledge around this issue.
Policy has been under the Digital Human Rights Lab for 3 years, and our COP is digital inclusion. As policy, we have contributed to this COP in terms of a project that we did that focused on access and use of assistive devices and ICTs among persons with disabilities in northern Uganda, in the districts of Gulu, Nwoya, Omoro, and Padel.
So over the period of 3 years, we evolved as a working group and eventually transformed into a community of practice. We have done a lot of work, including tracking of rights violations, having campaigns on children and online safety, alongside various campaigns.
So we've had about 5 communities of practice, including digital security, innovation for road development, cyber laws and legislation, and several others. And the idea here is we could resourcing these COPs to be able to innovate, because some of the human rights defenders lacked resources, financial resources, to be able to do their work.
We've been able to go all around Uganda under the community of practice. Of course, we have gone around, sensitized people on the cyber laws, their rights and obligations, what obligations do organizations have towards their subjects, whose information that they collect, data privacy.
The overall objective of the project is to strengthen the effectiveness and innovation of human rights work in Uganda through the use of a digital infrastructure, competencies, and instruments.
Digital Human Rights Lab actually felt and believed in our dream as the D-Bank show, which is to see factual information, have access, and people have, so is to see people have access to factual information in real time.
It's not even just about bringing all these people doing all of this stuff, it's to be able to match them, because you're going to find that there's people who are very technically apt, right? They have the skills and the abilities to do so much. And then there's people who have the vision and they want to do work, but they don't really know how to begin. So when you put them into a COP, the organizations that need to learn some skills get to learn from other organizations that have been doing some phenomenal work. And there's just this knowledge exchange structure that's facilitated through regular meetups. So there's they choose to meet up as community members. They choose to run different workshops, whether online or in person. But most importantly, it's entirely up to them to be empowered. They're empowered to be able to say, hey, this is what we believe in, and this is how we are going to come together. We are going to have a mission and a vision that we all share and we all believe in, and we're going to make sure that we succeed across the country and hopefully in the long run across the entire continent. So the future for communities of practice is actually very hopeful. Somebody used that word today at our community event. And what that means is, over the past years, communities of practice just brought people together, right? So we have an umbrella and all of these people have come together and they're like, yes, we've identified a common goal, a common need, a common vision, a common area of focus. And what happens next is now how they get to formalize, right? Because in order for you to have impact within your communities, you need to have maybe consortiums that are recognized as entities. And once you formalize and you put structures in place, then it can help you have more recognizable impact.
In November and December 2020, over 140 teams applied to the Digital Human Rights Lab Innovation Program with ideas to improve human rights work in Uganda. The 10 most promising teams were selected to further develop their solution in a 4-week design sprint.
We also have our very inclusive website, which is www.dhrlab.org, which gets to present the community and their challenges, and also provides the members of our lab and any other human rights defenders in the country with the resources that they need to be able to execute their work effectively. They get to be more informed about what events we have running in the lab and basically what's happening.
The DHRL Lab is part of the project Human Rights Protection in the Digital Age, which is implemented by the Better Place Lab and Future Challenges, and a grant agreement with the German Corporation for International Cooperation, which is GIZ, funded by the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, the BMZ, under the Digital Africa Initiative.
We envision a growing base of collaborating human rights defenders that addresses the most pressing human rights issues. After 3 years of successfully implementing and growing the digital human rights community, we are committed to continue defending digital human rights through our communities and partnerships.